before the sold-out stadiums, before the world tours that shook continents, before the Grammy records that rewrote music history, before she became a symbol of power, beauty, and excellence. There was a young girl from Houston, Texas, with a dream bigger than the world was ready for. She wasn't born into fame. She wasn't handed success. There were no shortcuts, no guarantees. What she had was a voice that stood out, a work ethic that never rested, and a vision so clear it demanded to be followed. From small talent shows and local stages to the brightest spotlights on earth, her journey would be built on discipline, sacrifice, and relentless belief. She would face rejection. She would face criticism. She would carry pressure most people never see. And still, she rose. Not by accident, not by luck, but by mastering her craft, owning her story, and refusing to be anything less than excellent. Along the way, she would redefine what it means to be an artist, a performer, a leader, and a woman in control of her power. She wouldn't just make music. She would shape culture. This is the story of Beyoncé Knowles, not just a singer, but a global force, a woman whose influence reaches far beyond the stage. This is how a girl from Houston became one of the most influential figures of our time. Beyoncé Knowles was born on September 4, 1981, in Houston, Texas. She grew up in a modest home, far from the spotlight, in a city rich with culture, music, and ambition. Her father, Matthew Knowles, worked long hours as a salesman. Her mother, Tina Knowles, was a hairstylist and fashion designer, a woman of creativity, strength, and vision. From the very beginning, Beyoncé was surrounded by discipline and structure, but it was her voice that changed everything. At just 7 years old, she entered a local talent show. She was nervous, small, quiet, until the music started. When she opened her mouth, the room fell silent. She didn't just sing. She commanded attention. She won the competition. And in that moment, something became clear. This wasn't just talent. It was purpose. Her parents made a life-changing decision to invest everything into their daughter's dream. Her father left his job to manage her career. Her mother supported her from behind the scenes, shaping her image and confidence. Practice replaced playtime. Rehearsals replaced weekends. While other children rested, Beyoncé trained. She learned control, precision, perfection. Long before the world would call her an icon, she was already working like one. What began as a childhood dream slowly evolved into a mission. Beyoncé's talent was undeniable, but talent alone was never the plan. She was placed into a girl group, a small circle of young voices chasing a shared future. At first, they were just children, rehearsing after school, singing in living rooms, performing wherever someone would listen. The group went through many names, many faces, and countless auditions. They faced rejection again. And again, record labels passed. Producers doubted. Doors closed. But each no sharpened their focus. Eventually, the group became Destiny's Child, a name that carried belief, faith in something greater waiting ahead. Behind the scenes, the pressure grew. Training intensified. Expectations rose. Beyoncé began to stand out, not just as a singer, but as a leader. She studied every detail, every harmony, every movement. She pushed herself harder than anyone else. While other teenagers chased normal lives, she chose discipline. She chose sacrifice. And slowly, Destiny's Child began to rise. But success was not immediate. Before the fame, before the charts, there was struggle. And this was only the beginning. After years of rejection and uncertainty, Destiny's Child finally broke through. Their sound was confident. Their message was bold. They weren't just singing about love. They were singing about independence, strength, and survival. Songs like Say My Name and Bills. Bills didn't just climb the charts. They dominated them. Suddenly, the group was everywhere. Radio, television, award shows. They became the voice of a generation of young women. Fame arrived fast, but so did pressure. The world saw success. Behind the scenes, cracks began to form. Creative control, management decisions, internal tension. The spotlight made everything brighter, including the struggles. Lineup changes followed. Criticism followed, and the group was forced to defend its place at the top. But Destiny's Child didn't fall. They responded with resilience, with confidence, with a message that became their identity. Survivor. The song wasn't just a hit, it was a statement. A declaration that they were still standing, stronger than ever. At the center of it all, Beyoncé was evolving. No longer just a group member, but a star in her own right. And the world was beginning to notice. By the early 2000s, Destiny's Child had reached the top. They had fame. They had success. But for Beyoncé, something more was calling. She stood at a crossroads. Stay safe within a group that conquered the world, or step into the unknown, alone. It was a risk that could redefine everything. In 2003, Beyoncé made her move. She released her debut solo album, Dangerously in Love, and from the very first note the world listened. Crazy in Love exploded. It wasn't just a song, it was a moment, a new sound, a new presence. Beyoncé wasn't asking for attention anymore. She was commanding it. The album dominated charts across the globe. 5 Grammy Awards followed. In one bold step, she proved something undeniable. She didn't need a group to shine. She was the group. But success came with a price. The pressure doubled. The expectations multiplied. And now, every move she made was under a microscope. The girl who once shared the spotlight was now standing alone at the center of it. And the world wanted to see if she could stay there. As Beyoncé's star rose higher than ever, she made a decision that surprised the world. She chose privacy. In an industry built on exposure, she guarded her personal life fiercely. At the center of that life was Sean Carter, known to the world as Jay-Z. Their relationship was powerful and intentionally quiet. No headlines, no interviews, no explanations. In 2008, they married, away from cameras, away from noise. It was a statement. Beyoncé would share her art, but not her soul. Together, they became more than a couple. They became a partnership. Music, business, and ambition intertwined. But even behind closed doors, life wasn't perfect. Love brought strength and vulnerability. Fame magnified everything. Every rumor, every silence, every absence. And while the world speculated, Beyoncé stayed focused. She let the music speak. She let her work carry the truth. Because for Beyoncé, control wasn't about hiding. It was about choosing. And that choice would shape everything that came next. By the mid-2010s, Beyoncé had already achieved what most artists only dream of: fame, wealth, global recognition. But success was never her final destination. She wanted more than applause. She wanted meaning. And then, she reinvented everything. With Lemonade, Beyoncé did something no one expected. She told the truth, raw, unfiltered, and unapologetic. This wasn't just an album, a confrontation, a healing. She spoke about love and betrayal, about pain and forgiveness, about Black womanhood, history, and power. Every song was layered with symbolism. Every image carried a message. She blended music, poetry, fashion, and film, and turned personal struggle into cultural dialogue. The world didn't just listen. It stopped. Lemonade became more than art. It became a movement, a mirror for millions. For the first time, Beyoncé wasn't just performing, she was leading. She wasn't chasing trends, she was defining them, and in that moment, she transformed from a global superstar into a cultural icon. Behind the power, behind the perfection, Beyoncé was changing. Motherhood entered her life, and with it came a deeper vulnerability. She spoke openly about loss, about miscarriage, about the physical and emotional toll of becoming a mother. These were stories rarely shared, especially by someone at the height of fame. But Beyoncé chose honesty. In 2012, she welcomed her daughter, blue ivy, and in that moment, her world shifted. Motherhood didn't slow her down. It reshaped her. She became more protective, more intentional, more grounded. Her body had been through trauma. Her spirit had been tested. But she returned stronger, with a new definition of power, one rooted not just in strength, but in resilience. Beyoncé wasn't just building a career anymore. She was building a legacy. Beyoncé's influence didn't stop at music. She had built a platform, and she knew how to use it. From fashion to film, from tours to streaming, she became a businesswoman with vision and purpose. Ivy Park, her clothing line, blurred the lines between music, culture, and entrepreneurship. She negotiated deals on her own terms, breaking barriers for women in the industry. Every project reflected her control, her creativity, her relentless pursuit of excellence. She became a blueprint for artists everywhere, not just to perform, but to own, to create, to lead, and in doing so, Beyoncé became more than a superstar. She became a global force. Her influence spans continents, industries, and generations. From her artistry to her activism, from her philanthropic work to her fashion empire, she showed the world that power could be wielded gracefully, fiercely, and intentionally. Beyoncé wasn't just part of culture, she was shaping it. Beyoncé Knowles has never been content with just success. She has redefined what it means to be an artist, a woman, a leader, and a global icon. From a young girl in Houston with a dream, to a powerhouse commanding sold-out stadiums, to a cultural force shaping music, fashion, and activism, her journey has inspired millions. Her discipline, vision, and courage remind us that greatness is never accidental, that true power comes from mastering your craft, owning your story, and lifting others along the way. Beyoncé has shown us that art can be more than entertainment, that it can be a movement, a message, a mirror of society, and that one person, fueled by talent and conviction, can change the world. As the applause fades, the lights dim, her story is far from over. Beyoncé is not just a legend of her time. She is a legacy in motion, and the world will continue to watch as she continues to rise. Beyoncé's story is more than just music, fame, or awards. It is a story of vision, courage, and relentless dedication. From the streets of Houston to the world stage, she has shown us what it means to dream big and then work harder. Her journey reminds us that obstacles are not the end, but the path to greatness. That leadership is not about control alone, but about inspiring others to rise alongside you. And that true artistry leaves a mark that lasts far beyond the spotlight. Beyoncé's life is living proof that when talent meets discipline and courage meets conviction, the world will remember your name. This is the power of a dream pursued without compromise.